Welcome to MacGyver's Workshop, where you never know what we're going to be working on next. If you're not too careful, you just might learn something. Hi there. Welcome back to another episode of MacGyver's Workshop, where you never know what we're going to be working on next, and if you're not too careful, you just might learn something. Today, what we're going to be doing is building some rustic shutters. Now, the viewers who've been following our house building project know that we've bricked up the whole house and we've got all our windows out there. And see if I can maybe pop a picture in here. And Tammy wanted to put these rustic shutters on each side of the windows, and did some looking, and those things are like ridiculously expensive. So, in true MacGyver fashion, to forgive the thunderstorm or thunder shower going on back there, it's been bright and sunny all day, so this is one of those little pop-up things coming through. Today, I'm going to show you how you can make them yourself, just using common, hand tools you would have around your house, and save you a ton of money. I mean, the ones that we were seeing were anywhere from $80 to $200 each. I'm talking not a pair for your window, I'm talking each. So that's $160 potentially at the low end for a cheap set. Now, bear in mind, I'm talking about a 50-inch tall window, which is a very standard height window for new construction. So, keeping apples to apples here. And I've got maybe $120 all in. Tax, a couple other things I was buying while I'm there, and a Diet Mountain Dew, to make enough to do 4 windows. So let's get started. Okay, so in order to build these rustic shutters, what we're going to use is your standard 5/4 decking wood, and it's basically exactly 1 inch thick by 5.5 or 6 inches wide. 5 3/4 wide. So that'll give you, if you line up 3 of them, that'll give you almost an 18-inch wide shutter. And then we'll put 3 little blocks, top, middle, and bottom, to make the form for the shutter to hold all the pieces together. To do this, what you're going to need, first and foremost, you'll need you some screws. Now, you can get these from your big box store of choice. They'll run, for this size, they'll run about $10, 9 and some change, 10 after tax. Go ahead and get either 1 3/4 or 2 inch. What we'll put in the brick are just your regular old anchors. We'll drill a hole in the brick and then hammer one of these anchors in here. Be careful and measure, and just drill straight through the shutter and bolt it top and bottom. Now, I'm using a chop saw here, but you could just as well use sawhorses and a hand saw or a skill saw, either way. But this is what I have, so this is what I'm going to use. And since I have mine mounted on a cart, in lieu of a sawhorse, I'm going to use a little carpenter's helper here, since I'm going to be sawing on a 10-foot board, and I'm basically doing this by myself, so that way it'll hold the end of the board up. Some tools that you'll need, aside from the, a saw, obviously. We're going to need a tape measure. I guess I could probably turn that around. I like to use a carpenter square so I can make a nice clean straight line on here, because I don't always trust my chop saw to saw at exactly a 90-degree angle. And then either a appropriate screwdriver, or in this case I'm going to use my screw gun with a bit. Now these are a Torx head, so they'll use, these particular ones use a T20 Torx. See if I can roll that over to where you can see it. Let's see here. There you go. Just about everything's gone to a Torx bit now, because the old Phillips heads used to strip out real easy, so they're still around, but for stuff that's going to take a lot of torque, the Torx bit just bites better and holds better and doesn't strip out as easy. So, alright. Now, one thing that you want to make sure of is that you make sure that you have the rings in your wood go in the same direction, so that you have all three of them together, with the crown going the same way. See, because this board, if it ever dries out and it ever tries to cut, because the crown is this way, the board will try to cut like this. So if you have them all going the same way, and then you have your board going across all three, that'll help keep these from cupping on you as they dry out, because these are pressure treated boards, so they're typically very wet when you get them. So as they dry, they will tend to move around a bit and shrink and all that. So okay, so we got our board laid out here on the chop saw. I got my tape measure down here. And what you want to do is you want to look at each end of your board, and of course you want to pick them out real good too. You don't want one with like a big split running down in here. But we can, if we have one that's ugly on the end, we got enough leeway where we can trim it off and clean it up. But I'll show you down here. See, this board's actually about 1.25 inches longer than 10 feet. So that gives you a little leeway there where, like I said, if you got to clean an edge up or something, or you're going to make multiple cuts out of this board, then you can still do it in equal 10 feet. Okay, so I'm going to make my mark here right at 60 inches. Now, I'm using a carpenter's clamp to hold these together. Now, you don't necessarily have to have one of these to do the job, but it does help. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure the width of these three boards together. And I have roughly 17 1/8. So I can cut mine at 17 1/8, and that'll make the piece that goes across here. Now we'll use 3 of them for each shutter. Alright, so I'm just going to clean these edges up a little bit with some sandpaper. What's important, again, is that you're consistent. So wherever we put these, we want to make sure we put them in the same place on every shutter. So now I've gone ahead and set a second clamp there, just for good measure, make sure everything's pulled together nice and snug. Good idea to start one there on this end, and then one on this end. Keep them about the same. Again, consistency is key here for the visual eyeline. That'll set a cross piece on these marks. Don't run the screws down too deep. Once we got that one in there, then we'll measure an equal distance from the bottom and from the top. And again, we have to remember and be consistent across all our shutters. So we want to make a mental note that we're down 32 3/4 from the top for our middle. So we'll write that down, make a note of it, and then we decide how we want our top and bottom line. Whatever is pleasing to the eye, you pretty much, we're not going to be in 3 equal pieces. You're not dividing your shutter up into 3 equal parts. So what you'll want is you want them a few inches up from the bottom and a few inches down from the top. And the closer you get to the bottom, the better it'll hold everything together so they won't spread apart and what have you. So, something like this here is good. So that would be about 3 inches. So we'll establish center and 3 inches up from the bottom and 3 inches down from the top. And once we screw all these in, we'll have our shutter. Good. Now we have one rustic shutter. And as it dries, the pressure treated wood dries out and it'll get a weathered, kind of a weathered gray color to it. Some people dig that color, that's fine. But once it dries out, I think they say to give it 6-8 months. And then if any of the wood went wonky on you and bowed or split or whatever, you can fix it. But once it's dried out real good, then if you care to, you can either paint them or stain them, whichever is your preference. So each one of these boards is about $7.78 at the particular big box home improvement center that I went to. Let's see, so we need one and at least 2. So that's about $14, $15, $16, whatever. So basically for under 20 bucks, you can make one of these. That's a heck of a lot better. The cheapest one I saw online was, I think $89 or something like that on Amazon. I don't know what it was made of or whatever, but if you're going to put up a rustic shutter, a rustic look shutter, why not do the real thing for 20 bucks? In a little bit of your time. I mean, anybody can do it. If you feel like investing the time into it, you can save you a bunch of money. So that's what we're doing. Now I'm going to make me 7 more of these, and then I'll show you how we're going to hang them, because we want them to all hang evenly. So that can be a little bit of a trick, but if you follow my instructions, it'll work perfectly every time.